Hey Seth, do you have a question for Coach P? Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Go ahead and ask Coach your question.
So it's just that I'm like doing this like thing that I know it's gonna work because I'm trying to like complete like a dream that's like really important to me. And I just keep, but the minute I'm about to do it, I just keep getting these feelings of what people are gonna say and like what people might think. Do you have any advice?
I do. Stop listening to people. Turn them off. They have nothing to do with your dream. They have nothing to do with your desires. They have nothing to do with your passion. They have nothing to do with your life. Do you understand me, young man?
Yes, I do.
You have no business listening to noise. It is distracting you from your purpose. It is telling you something that is not true. These people that you're worried about have nothing to do with you. You are the future. You have passion. Don't let them kill your passion because you're concerned about what they think. The truth is, everybody's got something to talk about. But what they're talking about may not have anything to do with you. So you get distracted based on what people think. But what about what you think about yourself, young man? What do you feel within yourself? How do you believe other people over your own desires and your own passion? You got a lot of living to do, young man. And there's going to be a lot more people that are going to do everything possible to make you think less of yourself. But do you truly believe in yourself, young man? Do you honestly believe in yourself? Because if you truly believe in yourself, those other people don't matter. Do you know their names? You don't have to give me their names. You don't have to give me their names. But if these people that you call people that you're worried about, if they believe in you, then they will support you. If they don't believe in you, disconnect yourself from them and carry on.
Thank you.
You're going to do great things, man. I've been where you are. I know exactly how you feel. Been there. And I'm not the only one. We all been where you are. Somebody told me, or I'm worried about what they're thinking about me, and I don't fit with other people. Listen, I'm in the business of not just being a speaker, but I'm also a fitness instructor, right? I'm an entrepreneur, right? The way I train my clients, most people or some people look at me and say, this guy is scary. He scares me. I don't think I could work out like that. He's a scary guy. You make me uncomfortable. Guess what? If I make you uncomfortable, I'm doing my job. You understand what I'm saying to you, young man? If I make you uncomfortable, I am doing my job. I'm not here to make you feel all warm and fuzzy. I'm not here to rock you like you're a little baby. You're a young man. You understand me?
Yes, sir.
That's all I want you to do. Get out there and attack. Get out there and believe. Get out there and have faith. Get out there and tell everybody to step aside because you are strong enough and willing enough to make it happen. Nobody else is responsible for that but you. Now you get out there and you conduct your business.
I will, I promise.
Thanks for joining. Jeff has joined. Jeff has joined. Hey Jeff, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. Okay, so Coach, you got Coach Payne here and we're live. So if you want, I think you have a couple of questions. Go ahead and ask them.
Yeah, Coach, I'm a huge fan. Love the work that you're doing. My question is about being productive and eliminating distractions. How can you completely eliminate distractions?
Well, how you doing, buddy? First thing, when it comes to eliminating distractions, is that you have to go into a place where no one is interfering with your train of thought. Sometimes that can be very difficult. Sometimes you can put yourself in a position where you're not focusing enough on yourself. And in most cases, when this happens, it's because you got too many things happening at one time. You have to discipline yourself. You have to be a little bit, I like to call it selfish, if need be, so that you can get into a position where you will be able to focus on the objectives that you are focusing to get into, or to help you to be a much better individual, or whatever your narratives may be, or whatever situations that you're trying to adapt and overcome. A lot of times people tend to have too many things surrounding them, and I believe that's one of the reasons why we get ourselves in a rut, because we're doing too many things at one time and not focusing on the main objectives. So I would strongly suggest that you kind of hit that reset button, take a little bit of time within yourself, have some me time, and then go after it and attack it with a full heart. It's a process no matter how you look at it. And you will have some ups and downs, but you can definitely adapt and overcome this. Very simple, but not as easy as most people think.
Yeah, no, it is hard, like, especially if you've never done it before. How do you do it with all of the work you're doing with your gym and the speeches and all that?
Good question. What I've done is I discipline myself. My focus mostly is the passion behind the work. And if the passion is not connected to the work, then you will definitely find yourself in a position where you won't be able to achieve the greatness that you are seeking. Each individual works the way he or she has to work, meaning that I may have a perspective of how I look at things and how I do things. You may have a different type of a story. Now, what works for me may not necessarily work for you. You just have to tap into what really drives you and pushes you to be better at whatever it is that you are seeking. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it was easy for me to get in the position that I'm in. I'm still fighting a good fight like anybody else. But I also enjoy the challenge that I put before me, or the challenges that I face. In fact, it makes me better and doesn't put me in a comfortable state of mind. Is it easy? Absolutely not. But if you have a simple kind of way of thinking about it, it's actually sort of enjoyable. Because when you're comfortable, you become predictable. So for me, I kind of put it in a position where I'm balancing it, putting it into a delicate balance, knowing what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Even when I make mistakes, I learn from those mistakes, and I keep going forward. You just have to tap within yourself and find out what really drives you. Make the mistakes, fail, whatever it is you need to do. But I assure you, it is a process. You cannot rush this. You cannot rush it. No matter how much you want it to happen really fast, it's not meant to go fast. You just have to travel very slowly and appreciate the journey along the way.
Thanks, Coach. I really appreciate you taking the time today, and hopefully seeing more of your clips on YouTube.
You got it, my man. You have a blessed day.
Awesome. So, Coach, we have Wendy joining us. Hey, Wendy. So you got Coach Payne live. I think you got a couple of questions as well.
Perfect. Yeah, I do have 2 questions for you. My first one is, what advice do you have for people who are starting their own journey of self-improvement and personal growth?
Well, self-improvement is one of the best things that I can definitely answer, because I myself am always working on myself to improve. The best advice to that is patience, taking the necessary steps that you need to take, have some faith within yourself, stay away from people that are negative and don't have your best interests at heart, have a ground or a particular foundation that will help you to preserve what you are looking to become or do within your life. It's a hard, unique, beautiful journey. It really is. The biggest mistake that most people make is that they want that now, and that's fine, But sometimes the now is not necessary for you at that time. But you definitely want to have that now attitude. I need to get busy now. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to get what I want right now, but I need to get busy now. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to trust within yourself and turn down the volume on the nonsense. Turn down the volume on the negative people. Turn down the volume on the doubt and the fears and the things that you may have within yourself, and just attack it with a full heart. It's a process, pure and simple.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that advice. And my second question is, how do you keep yourself motivated and focus on your own goals? And what advice do you have for people who are struggling with motivation?
Good question again. Well, for me, I look at my life being that I'm 50 years of age, and I say to myself, well, what else can I do besides get better? If I sit around and mope around and stress about things, and it's normal for us as human beings to be that way, what am I accomplishing really by wasting time on negative energy? As I said before, we're all human beings. We get in that dark place. We have our doubts. We don't know what direction to go. But I feel that I was put in this world for a reason. And that is not to be depressed. That is not to be afraid. It means that I have work to do within myself, and I need to go after it with everything I have. Is it difficult? Sometimes. Is it challenging? Absolutely. Do I love it? Of course I do. Am I passionate about it? Every single day of my life. And I believe that what I'm doing right now, it benefits me as long as I keep my eyes focused on the objectives and not the things that may be doing everything possible to drag me down. So yes, I had those challenges, but I refuse to give up. So every day I look in the mirror and I say, hey man, you got a job to do. Get out there and do it, because you are the first and the last person you're going to see before you close your eyes.
Thank you so much again, Coach Payne. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, and thank you so much. Thank you for being a fan. I appreciate you.
Let's go through the other YouTube and IG questions. Caitlin, yeah, ready whenever you are.
The first one we got one from Ryan. He says, how would you start out fresh as a motivational content creator?
Well, you have to really tell a story. You have to have some background to that. You know, a lot of times some people like to fabricate a lot of things, I believe, just to make it sound good. And I don't necessarily believe that's the way to go. So I believe that if you tell your truth, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense to other people, you have to believe it within yourself and make it happen and make it a reality. It's not an overnight success story. It takes time. Everybody can't be a millionaire. Everybody can't walk down, what do you call it? Modeling. You know, people that are doing runway modeling. Everybody can't be an athlete. Everybody can't be famous. But sometimes what we want may not necessarily be what we need. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with going after something that you truly want to be. Are you prepared to make the necessary sacrifices? Are you prepared to have a couple of doors slammed in your face? And that's pretty much how you would look at it. So you have to be prepared to accept rejections. You have to be prepared to put in the work. You have to be prepared to accept circumstances that may not be acceptable to you. You have to be prepared to cry sometimes. You have to be prepared to not necessarily get everything out of what you're looking for, because it's just not easy. And as long as you know within yourself that it's a process and you have just enough patience, eventually, whatever it is that you truly are seeking in your life, whether it's motivational speaking or content or whatever your heart desires, just remember It is a process, and you gotta have patience.
So we had a question from Jennifer. She was asking, can you share some advice for new parents struggling to transition into parenthood?
Well, let's see. Truth is, it's not really I guess the best way to say it, it's not a particular manual on raising kids. My daughter is 26, soon to be 27. My youngest son is 23. The best thing I could say to any parent or new parent is that you be the best mom, best father that you can be. Teach them values, teach them respect, teach them how to be accountable, and let them be children. Be a parent. Be a concerned parent. Be a responsible parent. Love your children. Don't overthink it. Don't try to figure it out. It's not normal. Kids are going to do kid things. Kids are going to make mistakes. But you got to be the best parent that you can be. One day they're going to make you smile. The next day they're going to make you not happy. One day they're going to make you cry. But at the end of the day, you're going to always love your baby because those are your children. That's your child, that's your children, no matter what. You know what I mean? So it's just that when I lost my mother and father, it broke my heart, you know, because you'll never get a mom again. You'll never get a father again. And I miss them dearly, even at my age. And one thing I'm grateful for, that they instilled the values that I have now within me. And I just passed the torch to my kids because of what they taught me. But just because what they taught me doesn't necessarily mean that it will be a reflection on my kids. But there are certain traits that you can share with your children based on your upbringing. All we're doing is passing information to the next generation. But never forget, it's important to be a parent. That's the key. You are responsible for the upbringing of your children. And that is a test that we all will go through when we have kids. Now, from there, as they begin to grow up, the attitudes are going to change. They're going to mature a little bit. And then you got to deal with that situation. Because kids soon become young adults, and then they become adults. And now you're like, and it becomes a unique, beautiful journey, I guess you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it's a blessing to have children. And those are your kids, those are your babies. And you are the hero, not some fictitious person on television, not some celebrity. You, as the parent, are their hero. Put that S on your chest. Be the best mom you can be, and be the best father you can be, and carry on.
We got another one here from Dan. He said, how do we go about going forward after failure?
Man, listen. Excuse me. Failure. You know, we hear this all the time. What do I do when I fail? Why do I fail so much? Why is failure so bad? It hurts so much because I can't seem to get it right. No one said you will get it right on the first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the 10th time. It doesn't matter. Failure is a beautiful, beautiful lesson. It is something that is required. It is something that is necessary. It is something that's going to help you to elevate yourself, to work harder, to have a little bit more drive within yourself, and to build a little bit more of a thicker skin to go through the turmoil that you are facing at that time. There's nothing wrong with failing. You just can't stay there. You got to get out of it. If you keep working at it enough, soon failure will get tired of messing around with you, because you have made up your mind, no matter how many times I fail, I am not going to give up. I am not going to quit. I am not going to give in. I am not going to let failure stop me from being the best that I can be. So if I fail, so what? If I fail tomorrow, so what? I'm going back and work on it until I get it right. That is how you overcome failure. And guess what? Something else is going to show up, and you're going to fail at that too. But you better not give up.
We have a couple others I'll go through. We have one from Joshua. He says, what do you do or tell yourself when you start having negative thoughts or self-doubt?
Well, Joshua, I think we're all guilty of that. The best answer to that is not to allow yourself to believe what has been put in your mind. You have to turn out that noise. You have to eliminate that doubt and fear and start trusting in what you truly are capable of. See, the truth is about us as human beings, we are so emotional at times. We tend to allow our emotions to take control of us. We are emotional beings. We act. We respond a certain way. We feel that sometimes everything just has to go the right way when in most cases it never will not always go in the direction we want it to go. The response to that is really depending on how you work towards it. How do you get through it? How do you respond to it in a positive way rather than a negative way? It's challenging. I get that. But at this point in your life, ask yourself, let's say you get over this hump that you're in right now. What do you do about the next one? Do you go right back and say, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Or do you say, okay, here's another challenge, next challenge, then the next challenge? Every time you face some type of adversity, you just got to be prepared to fight through it. Everybody moves differently. Everybody thinks differently. I can tell you this 10 times. The 11th time, you may not like it. I can say it again another 500 times. By the time we get to 501, you may say, you know what? I'm going to do that. It goes back to how bad you truly want to change in your life. But you got to be prepared for whatever unique challenges that you're going to face. It will never be easy. Life is not easy. Pure and simple. When someone says, that was easy, I'll look at them and say, oh, really? So you haven't been challenged yet. There's nothing supposed to be easy for you. Nothing. That's my answer to that.
We have one more from Marcus. It's, how do you become a startup entrepreneur?
How to become a startup entrepreneur? The best answer to that is stop clocking in. Stop clocking in, checking in on somebody else's time. Be determined and get outside of that comfort zone. You can work all you want for somebody, but guess what? The more you work, the harder you work, the more vacations they take. There's absolutely nothing with working for somebody. In fact, everybody's not meant to be a CEO or an entrepreneur, as you want to call it. And I mean that not in a disrespectful way, because we all have a job to do in our society. If you're going to be a janitor, be the best janitor you could be. If you're going to be a waiter, be the best waiter you can be. If you're going to be a teacher, be the best teacher you can be. We all have a job to do in our society. However, you have to be able to say, I am going to step far away from depending on this job, and I'm going to make everything possible within myself to get to that position. Now, make no mistake, it is definitely going to be a challenge. You are going to struggle like no one has ever struggled before. But you got to be determined, and you have to be willing to make significant sacrifices. So if you have to work a job and still be able to build your idea and your dream on the side, make sure you have the time to do it. But most importantly, don't make any excuses. The mistakes, the challenges, that's going to come. But if you're going to have your cake and ice cream, you better be able to do both, if need be, at the same time. You have to get in there and you got to go hard as you ever done in your life. You got to be able to eat. You got to be able to drink it. You got to be able to sleep with it. Whatever you need to do, if your dream is to be an entrepreneur, you can't sleep on that. You got to work day in and day out. Pure and simple.
All right, so that's all we got on the live. Coach, could you wrap up the live?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our live event. I want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a work in progress. We are going to get better. We are going to be better. And I'm going to do everything possible to bring some light into your life. I want to thank all the callers and all the people that sent out questions. I hope I answered those questions to the best of my ability. And I want you to know that you are beautiful, you are great, and you are going to do great things in this world. Turn down the volume on the things that are not building you up. And from the bottom of my heart, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Keep conducting your business.